I really loved color when I was a child watching these films. And I found that as the color process changed, the color changed, you know. And eventually, by the early 50s, the change from 3-strip to monopack changed the nature of the color. And colors became more muted, I thought. I happen to like the very bright colors of early Technicolor. That doesn't mean I don't like black and white. That's the difference. The black and white was color and still is. But I was really fascinated by that projection on the screen. And I think it may have been because the first film I saw was Duel in the Sun. It was 3-strip Technicolor, and that the credits, the opening credits come up, and it's the blazing hot yellow sun, and the titles come up, and you hear gunshots, and it was absolutely overpowering feeling watching that film, or trying to watch it. Actually terrified me. I was about 5 years old. But the use of color in that, I think, set the tone for me. And there's no doubt that I respond to the vibrant use of color in that, or the moment like in 1948 when my brother took me to see a re-release of Wizard of Oz, when the sepia sequences at the beginning and the house lands in Oz, you know, and it's still in sepia, but she opens the door and it's Technicolor. That moment have always been something that I love. I love when films in the late 40s were in black and white, and then there was one sequence in color, like The Portrait of Dorian Gray, or the end of Portrait of Jenny, where it's tinted green, the storm, and ultimately the last shot is in color of the film. This made it very special for me. And then seeing the two-color films, which I felt were magical to me. And so this all revolved around that technical process that Oswald Morris and John Huston used on Moby Dick, the desaturation of the color, which I tried to do many times, basically coming up with an image that looked so desaturated that it was almost like a colorized daguerreotype in a way, and had a great sense of almost like looking at paintings, or I should say scrimshaw, etchings done on whalebone. It was quite beautiful, I thought. You see, when a picture's made in color, you also have to design in color. That means the color means something. And color is special, you know. And the use of color was something new in a way. But just to shoot because it's color, it doesn't quite make sense. So the use of primary colors is important. As I say, color means something. Even when you don't want it to, it does. And so you have to be very careful of the colors you allow in the frame. When color became somewhat expected all the time, it lost its special nature for me. There was a different way of using color too, different lenses then, different film stocks. So you really had people utilizing color to tell a story also, in a different way from the studio films, because they did tell a story there too. All this obsession with color on film found its way into one of the reasons why I did The Aviator, and I decided that we're going to try to do color in the film that represented the color as it was available in whatever process Technicolor had at the time. So if the film starts in 1922 or whatever, the color looks like two-color, or represents two-color of that period. And so Sandy Powell had to design costumes that would play in that color. Often, I think there's one scene where they go to the Coconut Grove, and Cate Blanchett's dress, which is a kind of lame, I think, I believe is a kind of a gold color, but I think in actuality it was green. And so we tested all of this. The thing about creating that was really an obsession with color. And slowly the color in Aviator slips into a feeling of a more saturated 3-strip Technicolor. And then finally a colder color in the end. But ultimately, that was really one of the reasons for making the picture. And that was not possible really until the use of the digital intermediate. Part of this is beyond me in terms I was learning as I was going along on Aviator, and it was really an exciting experience because I was able to use pre-visualization for the first time, taking my notes and little drawings and transferring them into the previs Rob Legato was doing with me. And so the storyboard came alive in a way. It was a new way of making pictures, in a sense, for the action sequences I'm talking about, the flying scenes. We had seen a beautiful show on color and film right before we did The Aviator at the Academy in LA, in which they first screened beautiful black and white nitrate of Midsummer Night's Dream sections. They screened sections of it. Then they screened beautiful examples of tinting and toning from silent films and nitrate prints they had, leading up to full use of color. And it was really a revelation. Even the beautiful print they had of East of Eden at that time, because I recall that color in 53 and 54, Warner Brothers scope films had more of a brownish blue feel to them, as opposed to Fox and the films they were making. So there was always a slight difference, and it became sort of encoded in my head. And so we use them as references. But I must say that the use of the DI has increased the possibilities of color. And in a way, it's strange because there is no limit. There are so many possibilities now. And it's exciting, but at the same time, you have to force yourself to limit those possibilities and don't let the technology take over. Because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it.